I'm Sabrina Zainal, and Nightline begins now. News making the headlines. Government mulling savings scheme for foreign workers. And Datuk Seri Najib's lawyer insists he has nothing to say as prosecution ends submissions. Good morning. We begin with this story. The government is studying the possibility of introducing a savings scheme for foreign workers in a move to address the problem of them not returning to their country of origin after the expiry of their 10-year temporary working visit pass. Human Resources Minister Datuk Seri M. Saravanan said the move was proposed after it was found that some foreign workers who came to work in Malaysia decided to overstay as they had drained their savings.
Ini perlu dilaksanakan, sebab saya ada kes beberapa kes, bukan beberapa. Sejumlah besar datang bekerja di negara kita selepas 10 tahun. Salah satu sebab mereka tak nak balik ke negara asal, tiada simpanan. So when they go back to their source country, tak ada apa. Zero. Sebab apa yang mereka dapat di negara kita telah dibelanjakan. Sama ada hantar ke negara asal untuk keluarga mereka, atau melibatkan ada juga kes-kes alkoholik dan macam-macam. So they got no saving. So they don't want to go back. So now I'm looking at ini perlu dilakukan sebab ada simpanan, dan simpanan ini hanya boleh dikutip di negara asal dalam masa selepas 10 tahun.
Datuk Seri Saravanan said this to the media after the National Professors Council's Minda Professor program in Kajang Selangor on Friday. However, he said the scheme may take time to be implemented as there were several matters that had to be looked into, including on the indicators of forced labour under the International Labour Organization. He also noted that the government cannot increase the burden of employers by rolling out the scheme at this juncture, as the minimum wage has just been raised. Meanwhile, he said that effective September 1st, the entry of foreign workers, including skilled workers, must be approved by the Department of Manpower. Details on these new procedures will be announced next week after the cabinet meeting, he said, adding that this followed amendments to the Employment Act 1955. On to the final appeal in the SRC International case, where the prosecution finished its argument and the defense being adamant in not making submissions after its adjournment bid failed. The prosecution, in cementing its case against Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak on Friday, said this to the federal court: uphold the former Prime Minister's conviction and send him straight to jail. Ad hoc prosecutor Datuk V. Sitambaram told the federal court that the 42 million ringgit in his account was utilized by Datuk Seri Najib for his personal benefit and for his political purposes. He said that it was totally unbelievable 42 million ringgit had entered Datuk Seri Najib's accounts between 2014 and 2015, and that the latter could turn a blind eye when millions of ringgit were being deposited into his personal bank accounts. He said given the continuous flow of large amounts of money into his bank accounts, Datuk Seri Najib ought to have at least made inquiries as to the source and legality of those funds. Datuk Sitambaram submitted that even when the source of the funds in Datuk Seri Najib's accounts became the subject matter of official investigations by the relevant authorities, he continued to remain passive and did not even attempt to lodge a police report on the funds deposited. On the purported Arab donation, Datuk Sitambaram said the Pekan MP had vehemently argued that the money in his personal accounts originated from the Saudi royalty. However, he said the trial judge had fittingly found that the Arab donation story was unbelievable when weighed against the totality of the evidence. Datuk Sitambaram added that Datuk Seri Najib's defence had said that he did not know the source of funds is also a deliberate lie, since the same sworn affidavit confirmed the latter's knowledge that 42 million ringgit came from SRC International before entering his personal bank account. The five-man bench is led by Chief Justice Tun Tengku Maimun Tuan Mat. On the defense side, senior lawyer Hisham Teh Pohtek is adamant not to submit on behalf of Datuk Seri Najib. He was asked again by the Chief Justice on whether he would be making his submissions. Outside the courtroom, Hisham repeated what he had told the Chief Justice.
We are asked to come back on Tuesday for the defense. I explained to the court I told the court just now that as far as we're concerned, I'm not making any submissions. The position will be the same on Tuesday. I'll inform their leaderships and lordships that we are not making any submissions whatsoever. So I see you back on Tuesday.
The Chief Justice said if Hisham was not ready to put in its submission in writing, the defense could always make oral submissions. In the meantime, police are looking into threats issued against Chief Justice Tun Tengku Maimun Tuan Mat. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Akril Sani Abdullah Sani said he had instructed the Criminal Investigation Department to probe the matter. Tan Sri Akril Sani said the investigation also involves the Special Investigation Unit. He said that it was a serious matter and an investigation on such threats is being carried out despite the lack of police reports lodged on the matter. The IGP added that the police will not tolerate any elements that might jeopardize security and public order. It was reported that threats against Tun Tengku Maimun had been detected on social media platforms, including on Facebook and Twitter, since Thursday night.
Travel restrictions are over. How is the aviation industry staying ahead as the nation moves into the endemic phase of COVID-19? What ways can be used to attract movers and shakers in the aviation industry? And how to support and sustain growth in the industry? Money Matters speaks with the nation's youngest CEO in the history of the Malaysian aviation industry this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3.
This year's federal development expenditure, DE performance until August 15th, recorded an increase to 50.35% compared to 26.4% on April 15th. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said this was revealed in the 12th Malaysia Plan 12 MP Highest Monitoring Committee meeting, which he chaired on Friday. In a statement, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said that all ministries have been told to raise their expenditure performance, while unused allocations must be returned to the Finance Ministry to be rechanneled to any ministries in need of the funds. He added that the 12 MP Highest Monitoring Committee and the National Development Project Implementation Facilitation Committee will continue to look into current issues and challenges to expedite the implementation of development projects during the 12 MP period for the benefit of Keluarga Malaysia. In addition, the Prime Minister said the meeting had also agreed that the Prime Minister's Department's Economic Planning Unit, EPU, will prepare a 12 MP midterm review to examine and revise existing policies and targets so that targeted development goals can be achieved, with a process to run for a year from September this year. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri also said the meeting agreed to closely and continuously monitor key performance indicators in line with the target of achieving the status of an inclusive and sustainable high-income nation in 2025. This includes ensuring the implementation of interventions that are necessary due to uncertainties in the global economy, geopolitical conflicts that affect inflation rates, as well as slow changes in the country's economic structure. Besides this, he said Malaysia had become an aging nation in 2021 and is expected to become an aged nation in 2044. As such, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the meeting also agreed with the national agenda's mainstream mechanism of an aging nation and the preparation of a blueprint of an aging nation agenda, which will be coordinated by the EPU. He also stated that the government was also committed to achieving zero hardcore poverty goal by the end of 2025 through the Keluarga Malaysia Hardcore Poverty Eradication Program, which kicked off its first phase in April, involving 80 localities and about 5,000 household heads. Cyber threats in Malaysia are showing a downward trend. According to data from Kaspersky Security Network, 11 million cases were recorded in the second quarter of 2022 compared to 28.9 million in the same period last year. In a statement, Kaspersky said Malaysians are now more aware of fake websites or infected links shared via short message service, emails, and phone calls, adding that malware spread through removable universal serial bus, USB drives, had also declined during the quarter. Its Southeast Asia General Manager, Yeo Siang Tiong, believes that users have become more careful about clicking on links. Despite this, members of the public should install security apps on their mobile devices as they play a crucial role in providing a safety net against rampant social engineering attacks like phishing. According to the global cybersecurity company, there are several basic steps that can be taken to reduce the risk of cyber attacks. This includes refraining from logging in to sensitive accounts in public, limiting mobile device usage to activities that do not reveal any sensitive information on a public network, and avoiding opening any suspicious email or message. Another way to avoid cyber attacks is to be smart about downloading apps by sticking to official stores and websites. Police arrested 6 locals believed to be involved in an overseas job scam syndicate which trafficked Malaysians who fell victim to their bogus lucrative career offers and forcing them to work for online gambling syndicates and scammers abroad. Royal Malaysia Police PDRM Secretary Datuk Nursia Muhammad Saaduddin said the suspects who were nabbed under Op Pintas Daya on August 3rd comprised 4 men and 2 females aged between 33 and 45. In a statement on Friday, Datuk Nursia said several items were seized in the operation, including mobile phones, laptops, modems, routers, pen drives and cash. The operation was carried out through the cooperation of the Manpower Department of Peninsular Malaysia, the Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Council, MAPO Task Force, and Home Ministry. She also said that police have received 182 reports of Malaysians claiming to be victims of syndicates working abroad, involving 238 individuals. Of the total, 168 individuals are still stranded abroad, while the rest have been rescued. Authorities are currently working with the Foreign Ministry, ASEAN Nepal, and Interpol to trace the remaining victims. Members of the public are also advised to be careful with any job offers abroad shared on social media. Coming up next, another Palestinian killed as Israel continues attack. Stay with us. With the foreign front, the Zionist regime continued their act of aggression against Palestine on Friday after they killed 1 Palestinian during an arrest raid near Nablus in the north of the occupied West Bank. According to the Palestinian Health Ministry, 58-year-old Salah Sawafta died of critical wounds sustained by live bullets from the occupation in the head. Now, witnesses said Sawafta had been leaving dawn prayers before he was killed, adding that he was shot by a vengeful soldier stationed in a building near the municipality. There were clashes with youth in the area, and the martyr had been shot by a sniper in the head after he bought a bag of bread from a grocery and continued his way home. It was reported that Sawafta was unarmed when he was hit. In the meantime, several Palestinians were detained during widespread raids across the occupied West Bank throughout Thursday evening and Friday morning. An Indonesian man jailed for his role in the deadly 2002 Bali bombings that killed hundreds of people has had his sentence reduced, a move that could see him released on parole as early as this month. Umar Patek was previously sentenced to 20 years jail by an Indonesian court in 2012 after he was found guilty of mixing bombs that ripped through 2 Bali nightclubs a decade earlier, killing 202 people, including 88 Australians. The bomber, who was also convicted for his role in deadly church bombings in 2000, was granted a 5-month reduction as part of a series of remissions regularly given to inmates on Indonesia's Independence Day on August 17th. Therefore, the latest reduction could see Patek released on parole as early as this month. The decision has sparked concern in Australia, where Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said Patek's release would have a devastating impact on the victims' families. Albanese said his government will make diplomatic contact with Indonesia over the decision. North Korea's Kim Yo-jong has bluntly rejected Seoul's offer of economic assistance in return for denuclearization steps, calling it the height of absurdity and a deal Pyongyang would never accept. The powerful sister of leader Kim Jong-un on Friday said there would never be negotiations between the countries that used denuclearization as a starting point. The statement follows South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol this week putting forward an aid plan that would include food, energy and infrastructure help in return for the North abandoning its nuclear weapons program. Kim has also accused the South of recycling proposals the North had previously rejected, while comparing Yoon to a barking dog, saying it would have been better for his image to shut his mouth. South Korea's presidential office, in the meantime, expressed strong regret over Kim's remarks, but added that the offer of economic aid remained in place. Champions League. Johor Darul Takzim's fairy tale run ended when they were eliminated after going down 0-5 to Japan's Urawa Red Diamonds in the last 16 stage in Saitama on Thursday night. Now, Urawa had a dream start when JDT goalkeeper Farizal Marlias gave away a penalty in the 9th minute, and Alexander Schultz did not make any mistake from the spot. Sweden national David Carlson scored a brace in the 19th and 39th minutes to hand Urawa a comfortable 3-0 lead at half-time. Substitute Casper Junker had a night to remember when he scored 2 more for Urawa in the 84th and 90th minutes to seal Urawa's place in the quarter-finals. JDT, however, deserved credit for being the first Malaysian side to play in the knockout rounds of the Continental Showpiece tournament. JDT defied the odds to top Group 1, which also included the likes of Japan's Kawasaki Frontale and South Korea's Ulsan Hyundai. In another match, BG Pathum United moved into the quarterfinals for the first time on Friday as Makoto Teguramori's side handed Hong Kong's Kichi SC a 4-0 defeat at Urawa Komaba Stadium. Pathum waited until the 34th minute to open the scoring as Warachit Kanitsripumfen took advantage of a goalkeeping error. Iksan Fandi doubled the advantage 5 minutes later with a superb strike from the edge of the penalty area. Pathum resumed their domination in the second half when Tirasil Dangda struck their third 8 minutes after the hour mark before Chatmongkol Tongkiri put the final nail on Kichi's coffin 3 minutes from time, finishing off Diogo's through ball for a 4-0 victory. In 2021 edition, Pathum's campaign ended in the round of 16 after they suffered a 2-4 defeat on penalties to Jeonbuk Hyundai of South Korea. Up next, trailer lorry plunges off flyover. This and more after this short break.
Ada masanya aku terkenangkan dia.
For staying with us, the Sabah Customs Department has foiled 3 attempts to smuggle in contraband liquor worth 1.41 million ringgit, including unpaid duty in Kota Kinabalu. Sabah Zone Customs Assistant Director General Chong Yu Min said this in a statement on Friday after 4 containers were detained at the Sepangar port recently. According to Cheong, the first shipment of contraband liquor was discovered on August 11th after a team from the Kota Kinabalu Enforcement Unit stopped and inspected a container and found 18,235 liters of smuggled alcohol. On Tuesday, 2 more containers containing liquor worth over 145,570 ringgit with unpaid duty amounting to 594,410 ringgit were seized. The following day, the department detained another container with 16,632 liters of contraband liquor. All the contraband liquor was valued at 278,064 ringgit with unpaid duty amounting to 1.13 million ringgit. Cheong also said the syndicate's modus operandi was to smuggle in contraband liquor without paying tax by declaring such goods as different products to fool the authorities. The case is being investigated under Section 135(a) of the Customs Act. In Perak, a trailer driver narrowly escaped death after his vehicle suddenly went out of control before it crashed through a guardrail and plunged off a flyover on Friday. Acting State Police Chief Dato' Azizi Mat Aris said authorities believed that brake failure caused the lorry to skid off the flyover, which led to a traffic congestion from Ipoh to Tasik. He added that the 50-year-old trailer driver only suffered minor injuries and no other vehicles were involved in the incident. Meanwhile, Ipoh Police Chief ACP Yahya Hassan said based on checks, the trailer driver has a record of 22 traffic summonses. while the vehicle he was driving had 41 accumulated traffic summonses. He also tested negative for drugs and was not driving while under the influence of alcohol. The case is being investigated under the road traffic rules. Over in Sarawak, a lorry driver and his attendant were killed, believed to be from electrocution, when the heavy vehicle they were in burst into flames after coming into contact with an electrical cable at Jalan Semalau in Tanjung Manis on Friday morning. The bodies of the victims, who are yet to be identified, were found in the charred lorry. Now, Sarawak Fire and Rescue Department Operations Centre spokesman said a distress call on the burning vehicle was received at 9:15 a.m. A team of 6 firemen from Tanjung Manis Fire Station were deployed to the scene. Upon arriving at the scene, authorities found the lorry being engulfed by the flames. The lorry was carrying an excavator that got entangled in an electrical cable. 2 bodies were found in the lorry, believed to have been electrocuted, and were pronounced dead by the medical team at the scene. In Malacca, a man was injured when he braved through a burning house to save his mother and an older sister in an incident at a settlement in front of the Bukit Piatu apartments on Thursday night. 43-year-old technician Chia Wei Liang suffered burns on his chest and left arm in the fire, which broke out at about 10:30 p.m. The late-night blaze also destroyed 4 semi-wooden houses believed to have been built more than 50 years ago. Malacca Fire and Rescue Department Zone 1 officer Zulkhairani Ramli said the department received a distress call at 10:34 p.m., following which 2 fire teams, each from the Ayakro and Malacca Tengah Fire and Rescue stations, rushed to the scene. On arrival, the fire teams noticed that the fire from the first house had spread to the second, third and fourth houses and had managed to prevent the fire from spreading to other nearby houses. 6 occupants, who are in their 30s to 60s, managed to flee before the houses were razed. The department is investigating the cause of the fire and amount of losses incurred. In Pulau Pinang, a University Science Malaysia USM lecturer was sentenced to 3 years in prison and fined over 800,000 ringgit by the Butterworth Sessions Court on Friday for abusing his position by approving his younger brother's company to supply various goods to the university. Judge Zul Hazmi Abdullah meted out the sentence to 57-year-old Professor Badaruddin Muhammad, while his younger brother, Mustafa Kamal, aged 50, was also handed the same punishment for abetting his elder sibling. Badaruddin was charged with 9 counts of abuse of power under the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC Act, while Mustafa Kamal was charged with 9 counts of abetting his brother under the same act. The court also ordered the duo to be jailed for 6 months if they failed to pay the fine. However, the court allowed their application for a stay of execution of the sentence pending an appeal of the conviction. Both accused were then ordered to surrender their passports to the court and report themselves to the nearest MACC office every month until their appeals were disposed of. The 2022 World Robot Conference has kicked off in Beijing, showcasing the latest technologies and innovations in robotics. The event, which will be held from August 18th to the 21st, brings together more than 500 robotic products from over 130 companies, ranging from robotic dogs to manufacturing robots to logistics robots. Let's take a look at the annual event as we wrap up Nightline this time around. I'm Sabrina Zainal. Thank you for tuning in and take care.